Business professionals often struggle to establish themselves as game changers, thought leaders, conveying their credibility and even struggling to reach the career aspirations that they have for themselves. Often it's due to not knowing as a leader what they stand for or really understanding the perception they're creating or others have of them already. So, Scott Aaron of The Time to Grow is here to provide you tips and strategies that will help you set yourself apart by building self confidence and overcoming any limiting beliefs. He wants you to think and act like a thought leader, and he's going to tell you how, while at the same time helping you to build that credibility, build the connections and the relationships that will help you propel in your career and in your life. So, stay with us. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Shedding the Corporate Bitch, the podcast that transforms female corporate executives into powerhouse leaders by showing them how to shed the challenges and overwhelm, along with any fear, insecurity, self doubt, and negativity holding them back. I'm your host, Bernadette Bose of Ball of Fire Coaching, bringing you powerhouse discussions each week to share tips, advice, and sometimes tough love so you create the riches in your work and life you deserve. Let's do this. God, how are you? Welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, and just really grateful and honored to be here.
Before we dive into the subject all around becoming a game changer, basically, share with our listeners and our viewers a little bit about Scott.
Well, I'm a husband. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Nancy, who at the time that we're recording this, today is actually her birthday. So we're spending some time, this week and this weekend. I'm also a father. We have an amazing, gonna be young man soon. He's gonna be 12 in September, Taylor. I'm a big family person. I moved to where I moved to in New Jersey in Marlton to be closer, not just to my sister who lives about 5 miles down the road, but also to my in-laws who are about 40 minutes away.
Nice.
And it's really important to me, friends and family. I've been still hang out with my guy friends from childhood. We've been friends for over 35 years. I'm a rabid sports fan. Growing up in Philadelphia, it's kind of hard not to be. So I am into all the sports. We're getting ready for Sixers playoffs, hopefully
Mhm,
Flyers playoffs, and
mhm.
Phillies are back in action. And, music is a big part of my life as well. I don't play. I like to listen. My son actually plays the piano. My wife plays the
Ooh,
guitar.
ew.
But I was a really big it's a band called Fish, much like the Grateful Dead. I used to travel around with them back in the day when I had hair. I had a big afro,
Yeah,
and but
yeah,
music was always a big thing in my life. My father, still, I mean, he got me into Tower of Power and Earth, Wind& and Fire, all like the '70s funk bands and rock and roll.
yes.
So, again, core values for me, just outside of business, is family and friends are everything, and the way that my wife and I have structured our business is to work smarter, not harder, so we have more time to spend time with the people that we love so much, and
Yes.
and that's what we love doing every single day.
Yeah. I love Northeastern people. I just love we're just the salt of the earth. That's all I can say. And then we'll move on. No, that is absolutely awesome. And I love the photos on your website. You can go to thetimetogrow.com, everybody, and check out his beautiful wife. It was lovely, lovely to see that. Well, all right. So let's segue into our topic at hand.
Yeah.
Of course, every professional wants to become a game changer. And yet there's ups and downs of that. And there's more, kind of challenges to really understanding for a lot of people, I would say, as to what does that mean? What does that game changer mean? What does it look like? What are the things that they really should be focused on if they want to become that before we even can talk about how do they then apply that to kind of their online presence?
Well, I would say the term game changer, I would say, really equates to being a person of service and value. So, you know, especially in the corporate world, when you are, looked up upon to, when you are in charge of other people, when people are reporting to you, you want to be a trusted advisor to those people. You want to be a trusted resource. You want to be someone not so much that they can lean on for every little problem that they have, but a source of inspiration, a source of motivation, even a pillar of belief of what that person could eventually achieve as they're climbing the corporate ladder in their career. And I always have stood true with making it more about other people than myself. Prior to the online business that my wife and I run, I was a traditional brick and mortar business owner. We were in the health and fitness industry, and we had 3 different health clubs in the Philadelphia area, and I I never saw it as like a power position, like I'm the owner of this company and, I'm gonna puff my chest out and I'm gonna point my finger and direct people around. It was a lot of asking and listening and finding out not only from the members what would make their experience better in the gym, but also talking to my employees, my independent contractors, my instructors, what would make the classes more enjoyable for you? What can we do foundationally that we can deploy as a company to make your experience the best one possible here? And I think being a game changer, whether you're in the brick and mortar or you're in the corporate industry, it's really acknowledging that you are a person of value and there's people that look up to you. And it's really how you present yourself and what you're doing to lead and guide people to getting the best and most out of them.
Yes, I love that. I absolutely love that because that's what our jobs are as leaders, right? Is to make other people better. Now, but obviously, your living is kind of built on the fact that a lot of individuals struggle with their own self-perception, with their own confidence, with their own limiting beliefs that keep them from recognizing and honoring the fact that they are these game changers and or could be. So, what do you observe and see out there when it comes to the confidence level of professionals?
It's an interesting question because I think confidence is something that is very personal to people. And I think that really there's a couple determining factors. I think confidence, number 1, is something that is or is not ingrained in you as you grow up. The household that you grow up in, are you living in an empowering household where, you're looking to be your best and you're taught how to be your best? And that's the one thing that I can tell you as a father now, I'm always looking to empower my son to figure things out. Again, not so much baby him, not be there for him, but really encourage and empower him to be his best. And I think a lot of that, yes, can be derived from, childhood, but also if it's not derived in childhood, I think it can be emulated and learned as you become an adult, whether that's people that influence you when you're at university or in college or even high school, maybe that first job out of college. I'm a big believer in the circle of influence. And, you know, they say that you're the sum of the 6 people that you spend the most time with. Whether that's true or not, it's fine. Whether it's 4 people, 2 people, 1 person. I do believe that a lot of what we become is determined about not only who we emulate ourselves after, but who we look up to.
Mhm.
And that's the thing. It may be someone in your department. It may be a higher up. It may be someone below you. But the fact of the matter is that sometimes those things are ingrained in us, in our DNA from day one. But the majority of people have to learn those things along the way, and both are fine. Some people, show up with those tools already in their tool belt. Other people have to learn along the way. But either way, you always want to learn, you always want to grow, but more importantly, you always want to strive to become the best version of yourself each and every day.
And what do you find to be the biggest limiting beliefs that people have that cause them to take this ding to their confidence level?
I would say it's the belief in themselves. I think one of the big problems that people have is that they don't believe they could climb that corporate ladder. They don't believe that they're deserving of a raise. They don't believe that they could be someone that's in an influential position where they're influencing others beneath them or alongside of them. So I think a lot of it has to do with the 6 inches between their ears. And the narratives of what we tell ourselves will determine the outcome. So if you're telling yourself, I'm not deserving. I don't belong in that position. I'm never going to get there. It's not in the cards for me. I'm going to play it safe and just play for mediocrity and all of those things. Then guess what's going to happen? Those things will come to fruition. So my advice to that person that may be having a struggle with their confidence is rewire your story. Really ask yourself, are these narratives to be the truth, or is this a self inflicted narrative that is keeping me where I don't want to be? Because it ends up being an interesting situation because people then complain. They wish they were further along and they wish they accomplished more. But yet, in the same breath, they're saying, well, I don't know if I'm capable of doing that. I don't know if I'm responsible enough to be in that kind of position. But the only way to find out is to stretch yourself. None of us were born to stay in the same place. We're all born to move in a specific direction and climb that ladder of success. But the one thing that I will remind people is that the peak of one mountain is the valley of the next. So even though you think you may get to the top, there's always a new mountain to climb. And that's the thing. You always want to stretch. You always want to reach higher because nothing feels better than accomplishing a goal, but also having something else in front of you, another North Star to take aim at. So you're always progressing forward. So confidence is built over time. And, I can tell you that, I wasn't always a confident person, but I had to rewire some of those thoughts. I had to truly believe in me and understand that I was the deciding factor that was gonna make or break someone becoming the confident person that people entrust in me, or someone that lacked the confidence because you push people away. No one wants to spend time with someone that doesn't have confidence. People
Yes.
and I correlate this, to my wife. What I will tell you is one of the sexiest things that I found about her when we first started dating 7 years ago was her confidence. I mean, it just shined in everything that she did. There was nothing sexier than the confidence that this woman had and still has today. And I just really encourage everyone, you know, just listen to your narrative. And I challenge Nancy with this all the time. When she'll say something that is more on the lacking of confidence side, I will say to her, I will say, do you know that to be true? Or is that a story that you're telling yourself? And 9 times out of 10, it's a story that she's telling herself. And I'm like, if you know it's a story, shift the narrative and move forward in a positive direction.
I love that, but repeat that statement though. Is this
Is this known to be true or is this a story that you're making up? And if it's a story that you're making up, it's a subjective narrative that you're creating for yourself and choosing to believe.
I absolutely. And I have to say real quick, I compete in pickleball and I came off the court yesterday getting beat up to death.
Mm.
And I started that conversation like, you suck, you're not good enough to play with these people. It lasted for about 5 seconds. And then I kept in mind what you just said. Is it really true? Or, is it just something I'm telling myself? I love that. Absolutely love that. All right. So, one, it sounds as someone needs to identify those limiting beliefs, change the narrative, start believing in themselves, because then that's what is also critical to them building that credibility and that ability to be seen as a game changer. Would that be fair to say?
100% because it's they call it your attractor factor, right? So, we're all energy. So, people are attracted to positive energy, motivating energy, energy that's leaving people better. And when you want to be a game changer in whatever industry or field that you're in, again, going back to something that I noted earlier, is you want to be seen as a person of value, as a go-to resource, someone in the online space. And just remember, yes, you have those people that you can rub shoulders with in person in the office, but don't forget, an online platform like LinkedIn is where you can rub online shoulders with people. You have a whole community of professionals out there that are at different companies in similar roles as the people that you inspire in the office that you're in every single day, that can also look up to you. So it's not about what you're just doing for those people that you're physically around each and every day. It's all of
Right.
the people online that are maybe seeking an outlet or a resource or a person that they can look up to just like you, to help them move their needle forward in the direction they want to go in.
Yeah, I love that. All right, so that's a great segue into our conversation around LinkedIn. A social media, online presence, people kind of, it could get really, really, really messy.
Yeah.
And yet we want to talk about credibility and game changing and, and being a thought leader. So LinkedIn, fortunately, is that platform to really create yourself as a thought leader. What would you say is that first thing that they could be doing to make that adjustment, to kind of create that presence?
So I like to quantify this by, you know, the first impression is everything, whether it's in person or whether it's online. So the first thing that people will see is your LinkedIn profile. So you want to showcase and highlight, and it's not about putting yourself on a pedestal, but it's okay to let people know how great you are at what you do. I think that is not egoic.
Right.
That's being a person of influence. And you would only be doing yourself a disservice if you tucked your tail between your legs and said, "You know what? I don't want to come off as ostentatious and egoic, so I'm not going to really highlight all the things that I've accomplished." I will be the first one to highlight and shout out something that I've accomplished, because here's the thing, it's called proof of concept, right? I want to prove to other people, if I can do it, you can do it too. The story of Roger Bannister. So, for people that don't know the story of Roger Bannister, he's the first person ever to break the 4-minute mile barrier, ever. He was told by multiple doctors, if you attempt to do this, your heart will explode and you will die. And he said, "That's BS. I'm going to do it anyway." And he did it. He broke the 4-minute mile barrier, gave inspiration to a whole slew of people outside of his realm that said, "You know what? If Roger can do it, I can do it too." And in the 2 years past him breaking that record, 12 other people did it again. So once the concept is proven, so that's why I really encourage every single corporate professional that's listening to this or watching this, take a look at your profile. Use that I call it the passenger side perspective. If you were looking at your own profile, are you inspired and motivated by what you're seeing on there? Are you looking at your profile and saying, "Man, this person really knows what they're doing. This person is an A gamer. They are a game changer," right? They are a motivator. They are someone that inspires people. And if that's falling short, really take a deeper look at what you are or are not optimizing on your LinkedIn profile from your headline section. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, before you go there. So, I want to address the many viewers and listeners who might be thinking, "Well, but that LinkedIn is for if I was gonna go look for a job." And, that's the only time I really need to go onto LinkedIn and look at
I
my profile
I
and
love
care
that you
about my
said that.
profile.
I love that you said that.
Address that.
So, if it was 2010, I would agree. So, between 2012 and 2014, LinkedIn went through a drastic change when they were bought out by Microsoft, because Microsoft found an opportunity within the community that was built around LinkedIn, not only to be a place for recruiters and people that were job seeking, but also a place for content creators on a business level, but also business decision makers, people that could really highlight and showcase themselves and their business expertise on a business networking platform. That is why LinkedIn really diverted its attention to having the base level LinkedIn free platform, premium, navigator, and recruiter. So people that want to do the recruiting are on recruiter. People that are seeking for a job are on navigator. And then you have the majority of the people which are just using it as a global networking event every single time that they log on. So the majority, 88% of people on LinkedIn are in a decision making position. Now, I will also tell you this: LinkedIn is the number one social media platform for a business professional or corporate professional to build their personal and business brand among all the platforms that are out there. So for those that think it's for getting recruited or looking for a job, it just means you haven't logged on in the last 14 years. So I promise you, if you log on today, you will see it is much different than what it once was.
Okay, so apart from, getting inundated with messages from people who are just constantly trying to sell you, but I had a mastermind with a group of people about this like 4 or 5 months ago, and that's a major turnoff for people. So, what could our corporate professionals really be focused on in the areas of the platform and the actual engagement and connection of the platform?
So I would say four things in particular. Number one, optimizing your profile. Because again, you have one shot at a great first impression. So really take the time and with all the suggestions that LinkedIn gives you on your platform, on your LinkedIn profile platform, whether it's uploading a proper headshot or having a background photo or your headline, your about section, your summary section, your experience section, volunteer experience, any section that LinkedIn is giving you to fill out, make sure it's filled out. All the licenses and certifications, maybe some business awards that you've won, nonprofits that you've partnered and done work with. So it really starts, I call it the layer cake of LinkedIn. So if the big base at the bottom of the layer cake is your LinkedIn profile. And above that is the network that you're building. So for the corporate professional, you need to be focusing on what are called strategic partnerships or business allies, people that may be in the same industry or profession that you're in, or maybe sidelined, someone that you can link arms with, you can collaborate with, you can pass business or opportunities back and forth with, you can network with, you can build a business relationship with, because the value of what we do and who we are from a professional perspective is the value in the relationships that we create.
Yes.
And again, you want that, I call it the online Rolodex. You want such a bountiful online Rolodex of connections that if you need something, and for those that are watching or listening, and if you don't think there's going to be a need at some point in your corporate career, you are sadly mistaken. And
Exactly.
that's why you want that online
Mhm.
business Rolodex of people that you can reach out and say, "Hey, I need some help. Hey, I need some help here. Hey, do you have any suggestions?" Because
Yes.
there is power. There is significant power in asking someone else for help because you're not on an island by yourself. So, really focusing on using the search engine of LinkedIn to really seek and search out connections that would be good strategic business allies for you.
Yes.
Third, would be messaging people, and to your point, you don't wanna send 18 paragraph long drunkalog verbal vomit messages. That is the last thing that you would ever want to respond to because, you know, no one wants to be sold and pitched to. It the you always wanna message people the way that you would wanna be messaged.
Right.
So, if you feel it's a good idea to send an 18 paragraph long drunkalike verbal vomit message, you're sadly mistaken. So, if you're gonna reach out to people, specifically reach out to people to find out how things are going in their business and how things are going in the corporate world where they are, how can you lean on one another? You can only do so much in the confines of where you are physically in the corporate world. And that's why I really love LinkedIn because so many great things can come from it. So I always suggest for people to reach out to a few people organically each day, find out about them when you become connected. Like, let's hop on a call. Let's get to know one each other. How long have you been in the industry? Here's how long I've been in mine. What are some things that you're, seeking out of LinkedIn? What kind of help do you need? What kind of introductions can I do? It's always good to reach out and touch people in an organic and very genuine way.
Yeah.
And I would say the fourth and final thing is your content. Now, this is where you're separating yourself from someone that is just another user of the LinkedIn platform to a game changer. Game changers would and will be willing to create content that leaves people better. You need to think about, and this is the big mindset shift that I want all the game changers to think about. Think about anyone that you've led or you're currently leading right now. And think about any problems, any gaps, holes, voids, points of contention, issues, complaints that someone has ever brought to your attention about something that they are dealing with and something they need help with. Now, the next thing that I want you to think about is any of those things that were brought to your attention unique to you and your company, or are there people globally most likely going through those same issues and
Absolutely.
problems?
Yes.
And the answer is yes.
Yes.
So now you want to position yourself as a solution oriented person. And this is just a great thing that you can do. So it's an exercise that my wife and I take people through when we're working with them, especially when you're in a leadership position, in the corporate world. Really jot down and write down the things that people have come to you about problems that they're having. Now, those problems are not singular to just you and the
Right.
company that you're with. They're probably multidimensional. And what you want to do is you want to be a solution oriented person. So write down the top 10 problems that people have ever come to you that they have, in relation to the company that you're working for and working at. Now come up with a couple solutions for each one of those problems. The great thing is now you've created some content that you can put out on LinkedIn. So, as someone in a leadership role, you can do a video a week where you're giving just a helpful tip, like for the other leader, or maybe the person that is having this type of issue. So, I wanted to pop on here today. I wanted to talk about one of the big problems that, is happening right now in XYZ industry because I've heard it from people that are obviously, coming to me for some help. And I figured I can do the same for all of you. And the problem is X. Now, when you have X problem, we're always looking for a little bit of a solution. So here's my suggestion of how you can overcome problem X with solution Y. And here it is. And just say, I hope you found this tip helpful. Comment below. Let me know what you took most away from it and have a great rest of your day. So you're making it very, very simple and easy. And why I always tell people if you could commit to 3 posts a week on LinkedIn, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you're doing more than 99% of the LinkedIn community. So 1% of the LinkedIn community posts at least once a week. That's it.
Wow.
1%.
Wow.
You want to play in that sandbox because if you're playing in that 1% sandbox, obviously you're going to get more visibility and you're going to be obviously seen as that game changer. So the content strategy that I have for people is a nice short little 30 to 60-second video, just like the one that I spouted out a few minutes ago on Mondays. Wednesday, a market research poll. Now, why is this important? So for the corporate professional that's watching this, that significant issues and problems that are constantly brought about are things that people are struggling with. Ask and you shall receive. So LinkedIn has a feature, much like most of the platforms, where you can conduct a poll. You want to ask typical pain point problems that people in the corporate world have. So you can then further your content with more solutions. So let me give you an example using me. So I obviously I teach and coach a lot of people how to leverage LinkedIn. So a very baseline question I can ask my audience is, what are you struggling most with in regards to LinkedIn? Number one, optimizing your profile. Number two, connecting with the right people. Number three, creating content. for other comment below, and I publish it. Now, that's going to give me some much needed data research. So
Mhm.
maybe after a couple of days, it comes to light that most people are struggling with creating content. Great. So on Friday, I can write a long form post, so up to 3,000 characters, or I have a LinkedIn newsletter, so I'll just write a newsletter edition. You don't have to do that, but for example purposes, I would just write a 3,000 up to 3,000 character post in relation to the poll. And I would mention that I conducted a poll earlier in the week about what your biggest struggle is on LinkedIn. And overwhelmingly, people said that creating content is what they need the most help with. So, what I wanted to do today is give you 3 helpful tips of how to create consistent content on LinkedIn. Number 1, do this. Number 2, do this. Number 3, do this. Which tip helped you most? Comment below, and that's it. And post. And it's real like it's I know I make it sound really easy because it is. We just tend to overcomplicate the process.
Well, I just can imagine a lot of the viewers and listeners hyperventilating. One, because of the fact that, in corporate, they're lucky enough to kind of be able to, run to the restroom between all their meetings.
Right.
But at the same time, what I really want to stress here, though, with what you're talking about, and really take to heart, everyone, the importance, the absolute importance of you leveraging LinkedIn. And he's the perfect resource for you to understand this and then understand how to work it into your very, very busy schedule. But this isn't about you finding a job. This is about you, coming across to those around you that you are a thought leader. This is expanding your own, own skill base and your own knowledge base. This is about you getting into other industries and other sectors because of the global span of this. This is you giving back for all the talent and expertise and experience that you have, which will add to your cachet when it comes to wanting to be promoted, wanting to be seen as a leader, wanting to do. I love what Scott says about how to think and act like a thought leader. So, Scott, and for those listening, he has a free download. It's the perfect profile. It's centered around LinkedIn, how to make LinkedIn your perfect profile. I downloaded it earlier. And you can go to tiny.cc/, the perfect profile, download that, but then reach out to him, go to his website, thetimetogrowcom, and to learn more. But what would you say what could be the number one thing they'd leave here right now from this conversation, because you certainly made the argument for it, to really kind of create themselves as a game changer?
Consistency is everything. So, my honest and humbled belief is that if you truly want to be seen as a game changer in the online space, in the corporate space that you're in, give LinkedIn a full year of your 100% commitment. And to your point, Bernadette, yes, it's hard for us to kind of break away from the corporate monotonies of our day-to-day activities. And what Nancy and I suggest for people that are in that position is LinkedIn allows you to pre-schedule your content. So you
Mm.
can pre-schedule your video, you can pre-schedule your poll, and you can pre-schedule your post. So on a Sunday, as your weekend is winding down, you can pop onto LinkedIn for a half hour, pre-schedule your 3 posts for the next week, and you're done. And you can actually pre-schedule up to 60 days in advance. So for that person that wants to take full advantage of it, schedule your content out for a whole month ahead of time. So it's set it and forget it at that point. But if you truly give yourself a full year of commitment to LinkedIn, optimizing your profile, building the right kind of network, messaging and connecting with people the right way, and really showcasing your skill set and talents through your content for a full year, you'll be the game changer, not only in the in person space that you're in the online space that you're now on.
And as a result, get where you want to go and that you're working your butt off trying to get to. It'll help you expedite that. if that's a word. It's
It is now. It is now.
now. Yes. Scott, this has been awesome. Thank you so very much. This has been fantastic. But I want to remind everyone, follow him on LinkedIn. You can obviously find him from Scott Aaron, but at the same time, Scott Aaron Coach. Be sure to go to his website, The Time to Grow, and learn all about him and what he's doing and how he can help you. And trust me, in that 12 months as well. And then at the same time, pick up the perfect profile. It's his guide to how you can definitely optimize your LinkedIn profile and get your credibility, get your thought leadership, and get yourself positioned as a game changer. Scott, thank you so much.
Thanks, Bernadette. Grateful and honored to be here, and thank you again for the time to showcase what I love to your audience. Appreciate you very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks. It was awesome to talk to Scott Aaron of The Time to Grow. What a powerhouse. And when it comes to helping you to really become a game changer, a thought leader, building your credibility, and that circle of influence that he talked about, he provided some awesome tips and strategies, especially when it comes to leveraging LinkedIn, which is his sweet spot, in order for you to make the most out of your LinkedIn profile, not for looking for a job. I have to reiterate that LinkedIn is exactly what Scott talked about, is that place for you to build your credibility as a thought leader, as a game changer, as an up and comer, or someone who is ready for that big leadership opportunity. You need to be establishing yourself online and within your company. Be sure to take a second listen or second watch and start implementing those tips and strategies that Scott had recommended. If you should need help beyond that, because that's his sweet spot and where you really need to go in order to optimize LinkedIn for you. But if you need to really understand and figure out what you need to be doing or should be doing to really become that powerhouse leader, then don't hesitate to reach out to me at balloffirecoaching.com, or you can even set up a call, complimentary call, by going to coachmebernadette.com/discovery call. And let's have a conversation and let me give you some tips and strategies for really optimizing your leadership while Scott is helping you to build your online credibility and circle of influence. I am so honored that you were here to take part in today's conversation, and I'll look forward to having you for another episode of Shedding the Corporate Bitch. Take care. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Shedding the Corporate Bitch. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and gained some valuable insights. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and even LinkedIn to stay updated with the latest episodes. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and our Shed the Bitch TV YouTube channel. Lastly, if you liked what you heard today, please give us a thumbs up, leave a review, and share it with your friends and colleagues. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, keep shedding those bitches of fear, insecurity, and doubt, and start creating the riches in your work and you deserve.